Yo. So basically I need to make something to vape like right now. And I figured might as well do it live. I want something minty. I haven't been feeling well last week or so. I'm feeling better now, but for about a week it was a little rough. Don't know if I had the virus. Whatever it wasn't really that serious. But I was still self-isolating anyway, because if I had it, obviously I don't want to be passing it around to people that I live with and outside. And if it isn't the virus, anything that you have would make you more susceptible to getting it. So like if you had just a flu or a cold, it makes you more susceptible to get other things. So it's been quite interesting, to say the least. Very isolating. More so than usual for me. So I'm going to, I don't know why I held up peppermint when I'm going to be trying to use spearmint in the thumbnail, but I guess it's because I'm used to doing the peppermint. But I'm going to try to make like spearmint creamy vanilla something. I don't know if it'll work well. Every time I've tried to use this spearmint or any spearmint, it hasn't really ever come out that great. The only mint I have success with is either a more natural, just straight up mint, like an herbal mint, or Flavora peppermint. That's the only mints that consistently I'm able to utilize. But we're going to try spearmint just because I've been vaping the Flavora peppermint so much. I want to switch it up. So we're going to start off with 0.5% of that, of the spearmint. I might even do less than that. We're going to do 0.25%, just because I don't want it to be like mouthwashy. I want it to be more of like a sprinkling of mint. We're also going to use marshmallow vanilla. We're going to try to do this all Flavora. I don't know if it'll work. I don't have a whole lot of luck doing like one brand mixes, just because I can always think of something outside of the brand that would work better in whatever I'm doing. But we're going to try. We're going to do 0.5% of that. We're also going to add some of their cream. Do 0.25% of that just to add to the marshmallow. I also want to use their vanilla bean, so that's why I'm kind of going low with both the marshmallow vanilla and the cream. I'm only going to do 0.5% of that because I guess it's a pretty strong flavor. I've only used it a couple times. I think that's it. I also grabbed the peppermint just in case. Maybe add it on top of the spearmint for like a mint mix. But we're not going to add it just yet. We're going to see how it is on its own. Hello, Andrew. I thought I would do an OBS today, but after the catastrophe of last stream I did, kind of not in the mood for it. I still want to do that whole concept, just better executed. I did find a channel with videos on it, a lot of videos that would be good to do that kind of thing with. So at least that's one part done. I'm still very confused as far as the copyright side of it, because a lot of reaction channels do it on YouTube. And if you don't know what those are, they're just people that reacted to various different videos. Usually it's like in a specific genre. Like there's people that will react to food people, like the mukbanger people. There's people that will react to more comedy type videos, things of that nature. But they will have like the actual video that they're watching inside their video. And some of them have mentioned that they will get stricken with the copyright, but it's usually because of music, it seems. Not so much for the content itself. I just don't want any strikes. I don't really give a shit about monetization because I don't really make anything anyway, but I don't want strikes. I don't know why I'm smelling it like I've never used this flavor before. As far as how I'm doing okay. Kind of going stir crazy like I'm sure most people are. I haven't left my house in literally, at this point, a week and a half. And the only reason I left then was to go to work because my internet crashed because I work from home. So I've been pretty self-isolated since like pretty much the beginning of the year because I work from home. So I don't really go out much. But even the little I was going out, you know, I haven't been able to because of everything that's going on. And I have to tell you, it sucks. But it is what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? One thing I have been doing is like kind of virtual hangout type situations. So at least I'm getting some level of human interaction. Is even with the people I live with, like because I was feeling sick, I couldn't even really interact with them. So it's really just been me and the cats. You know, and I'm thankful for my cats for sure, but it's not quite the same as a human. Especially when they disappear for most of the day. So that's what I've been doing. I'm only going to make 15 mil of it because it seems like every time I go gung-ho, because this is what ideally I'd be vaping the rest of the day and probably tomorrow. If it's any good. Who knows? But every time I make like a quote-unquote big amount for me is 30 mil on something that I'm not familiar with. It's kind of a risk. And I try not to waste too much product, even though it is cheap. Especially with everything going on, you know, in more ways than one. You don't really want to be wasting stuff. All right, so that is good to go. One thing I'm going to check to see if there's even a way to share screens in this. Doesn't look like it. What is this? Oh, let's share. I thought I had already shared that, but do that. So yeah, there's no way to even share screen on the embedded stream thingy for YouTube. There used to be, but when they got rid of the whole Hangouts thing, a lot of features went away. So I definitely have to do OBS. And the issue with that is I thought I could just screen capture a window, meaning a window, like a browsing window. But apparently the only way to do a screen capture would be to do the entire screen. And because I only have one screen, I used to have duals, but my cats broke the one, and the other one, I don't remember what happened to that one, but it broke too. So that's why I'm using this screen. So can't really do that. So it'll be messy if I do it, which is going to suck. But I don't really know of any other option. And I don't know if I want dual screens again. I like the whole dual screen thing. It's just I don't have a whole lot of room. This desk is like not good with feet or inches, but I'd say probably 14 inches wide. So to try to fit two decent sized dual screens on it, I don't know about that. When I had my old setup, it was challenging trying to get both of them on the thing. And then I have to worry about my cats who like to go on the back side of the desk and walk because like the windows are here. And if they want to go from one window to the other window, they go behind the monitor. And that's what pushed it forward the last times that they broke it. Luckily with this, I'm actually using my old HD TV. This was done very, I'm trying to think of the word, in a very desperate time, because basically I was working from home and I didn't even know my screen was broken because there was nothing physically wrong with it as far as I could see. My cats had knocked it over so many times before, I didn't really think much of it. But then when I went to turn on the screen, it was all like virtually cracked. So spur of the moment, I had to grab something to use to work. And I'm like, oh, I have my old TV that I never use because I don't watch TV anymore. So I've been using it as my computer monitor, which it works. It's huge. I mean, as far as a monitor is concerned, but it's not ideal because it is one screen and kind of a little bit bulky. It's not like one of those old school with like the backs to it, but it isn't like a little thin panel one. Hi, leave that alone. It's not for you. Yeah, not for you. You don't want it. It's just water. You have your own. I was working on a wintergreen mix yesterday, and it was okay, but I wanted to add something to it. And since wintergreen is like, I think it's one of the prominent flavors in root beer. I'm pretty sure it is. I figured, well, I want it to be a little bit more flavorful. Maybe I'll just add some root beer to it, and I'll just enhance the mint or whatever. And I didn't use that much, only like about 0.5%. But I don't know if my flavor turned bad or what, but it didn't. I basically ruined the rest of what I had, which I hate when that happens. Because I could have dealt with the mix the way it was. But when I added to it, trying to make it better, it just like ruined it. But it is what it is. I haven't gotten any new flavors. I've been debating on putting a small order into Bull City, but with everything that's going on, I don't know. Because I don't want to be in a position I'm trying to limit as much of buying as possible. Not only because I'm sure, I mean, I know where I work, even though you wouldn't think it would be affected by everything. It definitely is. I'm guessing every single place is going to be affected in one way or another. And I know it's put a lot of strain on where I work. So I imagine that's how it is everywhere. And I don't want to put unnecessary strain on things, but at the same time, it's like places need to still be in business. Like there's so many places, like random places like Ulta, which is a makeup store, emailing about, free shipping over X amount, because I'm sure they're getting hit because no one's shopping. No one can really go to stores and everything. So it's like they still need to do business, but at the same time, it's like, do I want to put extra strain on mail workers that are probably already going through it? I have someone in the family that works for the mail system, and they said it's pretty crazy. Like, I've been even getting my food delivered, like groceries, because I don't want to go to the store. I'm kind of paranoid. I don't know. I just don't want to deal with any of it. So I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible. And if I don't have to go out, I'm trying not to. But at the same time, I'm going a little stir crazy. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of like one of those things, like when you're sick and you can't do anything. And even though typically you would not do any of the things that you're thinking about doing because you know you can't do them, or you physically can't do them because you're sick, all of a sudden you want to do everything. It's kind of like that for me. But I don't know. I don't want to keep talking about it because I swear, like everywhere you go, it's all anyone's talking about. And I get it, but I don't know. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot else to talk about because like no one's doing anything. I've been playing like on, the weekend. During the week, I don't as much. I try to reserve my video games for the weekend. But, I've been playing Call of Duty. Even Call of Duty, their servers were down. I don't know if it was like scheduled maintenance or if it was just the overload from everyone being on it. I'm not sure. But it was down for the most part of like the day. And then it was back up in the evening. So I played that with some friends. That was nice. I made macaroni salad. It came out okay. It's the first time I ever made it. Usually for something like that, I would just buy it. But I had the ingredients to make it, and I was like, why not? There's some really random ingredients in it, like sugar. I wouldn't think that sugar would be macaroni salad, but I checked a couple different recipes and it was in all of them. So I was like, okay, I guess we're adding that. And then I needed yellow mustard, which I don't really like yellow mustard. So I had to improvise with that. I used ground mustard seed in a concoction I found online. I don't know. It seemed to come out okay. I don't know if it's something I'd make again, to be honest. Just because there's other things that are similar that I make that are better, at least in my opinion. So I make those instead. I thought about leaving it out, but the problem is like lately when I've been trying to make those decisions, I'll make something without it thinking, oh, it doesn't need it. And then it ends up tasting like shit. So I figured since I'm not familiar with this recipe or macaroni salad in general, what I tend to do is, or what I'm doing now, if I'm not familiar with whatever it is I'm making, I'll make it by the recipe, at least the first time. So at least I have some kind of idea of what I can do. It's kind of like with mixing. Like if you get into mixing and you start trying to make all these changes to stuff and all this extra stuff before you really know what you're doing, it's probably not going to turn out well. So yeah, I did it as it was recommended. I did lower the sugar amount because the one recipe called for like 2/3 cup of sugar, which to me is like insane. Even though it's a big batch, it was like a 18-ounce, the bag or the box of elbow macaroni. So it was like that whole box. So it's a big bowl. But even then, like 2/3 of a cup of sugar for freaking macaroni salad, I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that. So I did like kind of eyeballed it, but maybe a tablespoon tops, and it was fine. But yeah, I didn't, and that was another thing too. It called for white, just regular granulated sugar. I don't use white granulated sugar. The only sugar I have is organic, like untreated sugar. It's like the brown, kind of like more crystallized. So I don't know. It was a lot of just small changes that were kind of unavoidable, like the whole mustard situation. I didn't have, yellow mustard, so I had to use something else, but it was fine. Ugh, I don't like macaroni salad warm. I actually made it all and then waited 6 hours before I even tried it because I like that shit cold. Same, because like the thing I was talking about that I make similar and to me better is actually something that my grandma used to make every time I would visit, because I used to go up there in the during summer vacation because she lives out of state. Actually, more accurately, I guess I live out of state because all my family's from a different state. But anyway, I would visit every summer, and she would make this like tuna macaroni salad thing. Um, it's basically just elbow macaroni, tuna, celery. You can do chopped onions. She would usually use onion powder and garlic powder, and then just salt and pepper, and that's it. And it's really good. I mean, if you like tuna, I guess, which I do. But it's just like a cold noodle thing, and you can keep it in the fridge for X amount of days. It's really simple and quick to just whip up, and then you have food for a few days. But it's really good. It's one of the, if not the only thing that I've been able to make that's similar to the way my grandma makes it, because she's in the school of not measuring really anything. Like I've tried to make her chicken and dumplings, her chicken noodle soup, her meatloaf, and a couple other things, and it doesn't taste nearly as good as hers. But she doesn't really have. She's like, oh, just to taste or whatever, and it's like. Apparently, we don't have a to taste that's the same because this tastes nothing like it. But yeah, if you like that tuna, if you like tuna, it's really good. What the hell was that? Everything's flying off. Well, the thing is I pretty much was self-taught cooking because even though my grandma used to cook a lot, before she got, older, she lived out of state. And my mom didn't cook, doesn't cook. My dad doesn't really cook either. But the thing is like, I was one of those like latchkey kids. So basically, when I'd come home from school, it was just me and my brother. And if we were hungry, we had to make our own shit. And quite frankly, I got sick of making just sandwiches and ramen and all this other stuff. So over time, I'd start making other shit. And it ended up being something I enjoyed doing. Plus, it's not really that hard. I don't know why people can't cook. I feel like people that can't cook just can't. Maybe they're just doing too much. Because I know sometimes with me, when I'm cooking, I'll get bored because it's like, you're waiting on something, you're waiting on this, you're waiting on that. And I'm the type of person, like, if I'm doing something, I like to be as, like, efficient as possible when I'm doing it. So I like to do multiple things at once. That doesn't always work. you end up burning something or whatever. Or maybe they're just not good at following directions because they think they can just do this and that. And sometimes you can, but like for instance, baking is pretty, like you have to be pretty accurate with it unless you really know what you're doing. But whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna try this mint. But yeah, I never really understood why people had such an issue cooking. Like, oh, I'm a terrible cook. It's like, why can't you read? Like, I don't know. Don't really get it. The hell? So far, very weird. Yeah, and the second pull, it's not as bad. The thing to consider and remember about mints, a lot of them are very like either alcohol based or they just taste very kind of alcohol-y. So you might get that Listerine effect initially, but if you let it sit for like even just a day, it tends to calm down. I think that's what I was getting with that one. I don't know why the peppermint isn't as bad as far as all that goes, but for whatever reason, any other mint outside of peppermint is very much like that. Like after the shake. Like there's a wintergreen mix that I like, but it definitely needs to sit at least a couple of days just to smooth out the mint that's used. Because I'm pretty sure the TFA wintergreen is alcohol based or has it in there. It doesn't say on the label. Contains art, flavors, and PG. I didn't know they were putting art in their stuff. That's interesting. But I think this wintergreen is also bad. I've had it for a while. I think it was part of the issue I was having with yesterday's mix. But I do think we're going to add something to this because I'm not really digging it a whole lot by itself. Like it's kind of flat. I don't know. I've described that before when trying to explain why a mix to me is just feels incomplete. It just tastes flat. Like it tastes bland. I don't know, something. Like it just doesn't taste finished. It's not bad, but I almost want to add the peppermint to it. It's my favorite mint, the Fulvora peppermint. So it's hard for me to vape anything mini without adding it in there. I might add that. I also tend to add some kind of cookie to my mint cream mixes, which might sound weird, but what it does is the cookie, depending on what you use, of course, like I used to use Capella sugar cookie quite often, but the only reason I don't like that flavor is it does tend to darken not only my mix slightly, but mostly my coils. Like there's something in it. It might be like some sweetener that's in it. I'm not sure, but it tends to make me have to change my wicks more frequently than I prefer. Like sometimes multiple times a day, depending on how much I'm vaping. So I've switched to Real Flavor Sugar Cookie, which I might be using in this one. It's a nice sugar cookie. It's not as mushy as the Capella. Like the Capella is almost soggy. Like it just kind of mushes things. And that can be good in some applications. And then in other times, not as much. And almost kind of dulls flavors sometimes. Whereas the Real Flavor Sugar Cookie, I find it just adds more of that granulated sugar almost note to it, and sweetness kind of integrated into that, and then a nice little vanilla bakery note. It's a really good flavor. It's actually one of my favorite flavors from Real Flavors. Mind you, I don't have many from them. Partially just because I haven't tried a ton of their flavors. And the other part is just maybe bad choosing the flavors that I have tried. Overall, eh. But yeah, I think I'm going to add some sugar cookie to this. And then maybe peppermint. I don't know. If I do peppermint, it's just going to be like a drop. Because I just want to boost the mint up a little bit. I find one of the problems I have with spearmint, and it doesn't matter which one I've used. I've used Flavor Art and I think PFA. It's either too much or not there at all. So it's kind of hard to balance. And mind you, again, this is like right off the shake. So it could benefit from sitting even just a day. But I kind of need something to vape now. So I need to figure something out. So we're going to do 1% of sugar cookie. And then I'm just going to put a drop of peppermint and just see what that equates to and then add it. I don't typically mix by the drop, but considering I'm just wanting a tiny little bit, that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to try to make it a smaller drop, which is kind of challenging. Especially with the old Flavora bottles. The little dropper thingy is kind of bigger. Not quite as big as Capella. Like Capella's factory bottles or whatever, there's some big drops. And because of that, one of my least favorite to work with as far as that's concerned, because I typically am mixing low, so for me to get the percentages I need from those can be challenging. And yes, I could rebottle it or pipette or whatever, but that's kind of a pain in the ass. I typically don't like mint vapes overall, but if I'm not feeling well, like I have been for about a week and a half. Like I said, I'm pretty much better now, but I'm still wanting a minty thing. So that's why. Overall, not something I gravitate towards. But every now and then. Plus, it's something different. I have to keep changing up, what I'm mixing. So I'm still, having those olfactory fatigue issues. I don't know if that's just how, I'm guessing that's just how it's going to be now. Because it's been, I think, 2 years at this point. Because I started having the issue last year this time around, I think it was. So I'm guessing if it would have reverted back to the way I was vaping, it would have done it by now. So I just have to make sure I switch things up, which sucks for me because the type of vapor I am, I find something I like and I just like to mix that just constantly. Especially lemonade. I miss lemonade. I haven't been able to enjoy a lemonade vape because quite frankly, I'm afraid of it now because that's what caused the issue to begin with. I haven't mixed like a lemon prominent mix. And one of my favorite mixes, which is Wayne's Pink Punch remix. That thing is, oh my god. If you've never had either his remix or the e-juice that it was made from, which I don't even know if it's still accessible anymore, but it's called like Pink Punch or something. I forget the name of the company, but it's really, really good. It's lemonade heavy, but there's like another flavor in it. I can't quite remember what it is because it's been a long time since I've mixed it. But I was vaping on that for, I think, months just because I liked it so much. and it completely screwed me over. White winner. The Wonder Flavors double mint is supposed to be like that gum as well. I don't personally like it. Maybe I just haven't mixed it, in something that was good. That's possible. I'm not the best at mixing mints. But yeah. My favorite mints are, like, if I'm going an herbal type mint, like the actual leaf, Inawera Natural Mint is the best. If you want to make it even more herbally or leafy, you can add some Flovora Basil at a very low percentage. And it sounds weird, but it works. It brings up like the leafy notes in it. Flovora Peppermint is my favorite, just like overall, like if I'm doing like a mint cream or anything like that. And it's not too like mouthwashy or like gum or whatever. That's the one I like. Can't really think of any other mint flavors that I like a whole lot. And I have a lot. But for me, they always tend to be too mouthwashy, and I don't want to vape mouthwash. Oh, and Flovora Creme de Menthe is good. It's like a Andes mint situation. Oh, Wayne's recipe is called Punched All the Flavors. I can link it in a second. It's a really, really good mix. It's probably my favorite of the ones I've tried from him. I've mixed a few. The only ones that I didn't like from him, I think it was Funfetti I didn't care for. But I think it was, with him, it's certain ingredients he uses that I just don't like. I think is why I didn't like the few mixes I didn't like. But I do also have to have his percentages because he mixes a little bit higher than I do, which most people do. But I really like that. I like his watermelon. I don't know why people don't. Maybe if they have the recipe, it would work better for them. I don't know. But I do like that one. Oh, his honeydew boba is also, it's probably tied for where my favorite from him. It's like a honeydew cream thing. It's really, really good. I could do that. I haven't vaped honeydew in a while. Let's see. Okay, it's not coming up under that name. So I'm going to go back to, because of course he's highlighted on the main page. It's probably buried. So I'm pretty sure the last time I had to look for it, it was like, and the version I have, because I did tweak it, I think slightly outside of just percentages, I have it private because it's not my recipe. Like if I'm like revising someone else's stuff, I don't make it public. I think that's weird. I don't want people to think it's my recipe when it's not. Oh my God. So I'm still looking and it's like, I don't know where the hell. He's got like 221 recipes here. I don't see a way to like filter it outside of his name. I'm gonna do Punch. You know what's something Punch? Maybe I'll have to, oh, here it is. Lemon Twist Pink Punch Lemonade Remix. And his little picture says Punched, but that's not the actual name of it. At least not on all the flavors. So I found it. That's the one. I think the only thing I did differently is like lowered the percentages, and instead of lemon round candy, I used something else because at the time I didn't have it. And I've recently purchased the one-on-one round candy thing for that recipe, and I actually liked the one I used better. That was like the only substitution I made because I wanted to try that mix because I had tried the actual e-juice at a vape convention, and it's really, really, really good. The only reason I didn't grab it when I was there is it was just loaded with sweetener, which is unfortunate because I don't think it needed, as much sweetener as was in there, and I knew I wouldn't be able to vape it being like that. So, and this is pretty spot on. One-on-one lemon round candy, 5% Capella pink lemonade, and 1% super sweet. I also didn't put super sweet in it because I don't really add sweetener to anything, and I can't do super sweet. It mutes for me. I don't know why. Yeah, I found it. I put the link above Ian's name. I appreciate it. Like I said, the little thumbnail says Punched, so I'm sure it's probably why you thought it was that. But if you try searching that, it doesn't come up. But yeah, it's really good. I would definitely check it out. Let me see if I can find that honeydew one. I did butcher the honeydew boba as well, mainly because I can't vape Flavor Art whipped cream, which is in there. It's like loaded with diacetyl and other stuff that, for whatever reason, in that flavor, I can't do. I used, I think, TFA whipped cream instead, because he did say, because it was during, I think, a live mixing show, he did say you could use, or it was on his website, you could use TFA whipped cream instead. But everything else, I think I kept the same. And it's a pretty simple, it's only 4 flavors. It's really good though. Those are my 2 right off the top from him that I like the most. And like I said, watermelon I also like. Anyway. Yeah, with I don't know why I'm missing like random comments. I actually liked Rondonite. I found it different. I think a lot of people don't like Tyrone, Flavor Art Tyrone. That might be why people don't like that one. But I liked it. I thought it was interesting. Hello, Adam. And yeah, for watermelon, I definitely I took out the sweetener. Pretty much anything he mixes, I take out the sweetener. And trust me, it's fine. Sweetener is one of those things. You can definitely try it as it's intended, but it doesn't typically need to be in there. It's kind of a preference. Like with this mint mixture, I didn't add any sweetener to it, and it's sweet. I mean, you can find, what I try to do is I just find flavors that are already inherently sweet. And it tends to limit how sweet it is. Like, so basically it won't be overly sweet. It's very rare I'll add sweetener to something. I have 2 one-shots of his coming today, the custard and the strawberry milk. I haven't, I've tried rose. I don't know. I think that's what it was called, rose milk. I didn't care for it. I don't remember why. And I haven't tried the custard. I assume any custard one-shot or anything custard, whatever, has Capella V1 in it. And I hate that flavor. So I never get like custard one-shots unless I know the person, they specifically tell me it's not in there. Because I can't do that flavor. There's only been like 1 or 2 mixes that I've had with it in there that were tolerable. But even then, it's like, I want to switch this with something else. Oh, this is the quick, not the strawberry milk. Yeah, I haven't tried that one. I have like 2 pages in ELR of other people's recipes that I've wanted to mix and haven't. I don't know. I think they're interesting shows. Like I've done a couple of shows mixing other people's stuff. My fear is because I'm so picky. Like I just don't want to not like it, even though they might not care, you know, my opinion, or it might not bother them that I don't like it. I don't like critiquing other people's work. You know, taste is subjective. And I know personally, like I don't like probably 90% of what I personally mix. So I don't know, it just feels weird to me critiquing somebody else's mix. At the same time, I find it interesting, like if people mixed my stuff, like I want their opinion, whether it's good or bad, because number one, I find it interesting, like what they get opposed to what I get from it. But it also makes you a better mixer. And that's part of why, you know, the Mixin' Vixens is beneficial to me, because it gives me other people's perspectives and outlooks on what I mix. Because obviously I only have my taste buds and what I taste. But, you know, not everyone is me. And I'm very sensitive to things, and I get things, you know, from flavors that other people don't, and vice versa. So having other people's opinions, you know, it's helpful to me, but not everyone thinks that way. Some people might be, you know, sensitive to their work. I don't know. I just don't want to piss anybody off. So yeah. But yeah, actually I have 86 recipes that I've put in my, because I put it in its own little folder of like other people's mixes that I've come across and wanted to try. I don't think I mixed any of them. Yeah, so adding that little bit of peppermint, literally 1 drop, which came out to 0.12%. Actually, it's more of like 1%. I forgot I did 15 mil, not 10. So I have to change that. What did I do? Anyway, adding the 0.1% or whatever it was. Basically 1 drop out of the Flavora bottle of peppermint, and then the 1% of sugar cookie definitely like made it pop a little bit more. So it's not so flat and boring. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm going to leave it as it is. So yeah, we have that. I'll make this public. I don't know what to call it. I guess I'm not good at naming shit. Yeah. So usually what I try to do is, if I know the person, I'll ask them like, hey, like I want to mix your recipe. Would you be okay with me doing a video on it and like giving my honest thoughts? Bearing in mind, I am very picky. And as long as they say it's fine, and honestly, everyone I've asked that question, they've always said, yeah, go for it. It's just like random people I see recipes for, you know, and they also might be a new mixer. I don't want to like take any like wind out of their sails. Because, you know, even though I do come across very aggressively, I genuinely don't want to like hurt anyone's feelings. Like, I know it happens, but it's not something I aim to do. And if they're not asking for my opinion, I don't want to just be like spewing it. It's like for me, like I don't mind if, you know, people give their opinion on stuff, but like if they're just like randomly coming out of nowhere and interjecting BS, I don't like that. I don't know. This mint thing is taking forever to go public as usual. But yeah, I will tell you some recipes I have mixed and liked. And I've said this one before, but I like Viserion from IV10T. I did have the recipe, and you do need to steep it for a minimum of a week. If you try to make it right or vape it straight off the go, it's gross. It really is. It definitely needs to sit. Because I did let it sit the first time I vaped it, and it was really good. And then I obviously wanted more, so then I mixed it. And I'm like, you know, some people say it needs to sit, but it really doesn't. So I tried it. And I'm like, nope, that definitely needs to sit. So I like that one. It's basically a blueberry cream with a little bit of cooling in it. It's actually the recipe that made me more open to cooling agents in my mixes because I was very against them for the longest time. But that recipe and how good it was, in my opinion, made me love it. Another one of his I really like is his honeysuckle ice cream. It's called Longing. It's just really, really solid. I also like mixed or sun-kissed melons by Darth Vapor, I think his name was. Oh, and speaking of which, I meant to go over this. I have to find it. That is a video I meant to do. Damn it. I need like a calendar or a planner or something because my memory is just complete garbage. So I wonder if I don't even know where I put it. Basically, the new Flavora recipe book came out, but it came out at a really weird time, or I got it in a really weird time, and I just completely forgot to bring it up. But the new Flavora recipe book came. I have it somewhere. I know I specifically put it somewhere, thinking it would be like easy to remember and access where it was. And now I have no idea where I put it. But anyway, I do have, I think, 2 recipes in there. But that's how I found the sun-kissed melons, was from the Flavora recipe book. It basically tastes like Skittles to me. Just like straight up Skittles, but none of like the cleaning agent that you can get with, like, for instance, like TFA Skittles. It gets a decent flavor, but it can get kind of weird. This one's it's just a very pleasant, very fruity. It's really, really good. I do think I had to maybe adjust his percentages. Maybe. Really like that one. That is also one, though, that caused muting for me because I kept vaping it, and it does have a pretty lemon forward note to it, or at least I get a lot of lemon from it. So, unfortunately, I can't vape that as much as I would like to. Winter cream, or winter mint cream. Oh, who did that one? That's also another recipe that made me more open to minty vapes. Basically, I was sick at the time. I had a really sore throat, and when I have a sore throat, I can't do regular e-juice. It just bothers me too much. So I need something minty that's a little bit more gentler on the throat. This one is by Foment. It's called Winter Mint Cream. This one's also good. I did, again, I think half his percentages. This one does need to sit like maybe a day, not too long, but I think it just needs a day for that wintergreen to calm down a little bit. But it's also a good one if, especially if you're sick. It's nice and creamy. It's not too like I said, Listerine mouthwash type crap. It's smooth. It's nice. I like that one. Yeah, that's what I can think of off the top of my head. I think I'm going to get out of here at like 12:30 because I don't have much else to say. I'm going to post my mint recipe over here, in case you get the coronas or anything else. Hopefully I don't get, some people are getting flagged for that. I forget, you're not supposed to say the word. Maybe because I made it plural and I didn't say like things together, maybe it'll be okay. If it ain't, whatever. As long as I don't get flagged. Because I don't think my stuff's monetized anyway. You know what's really weird about the monetization is, and people have called bullshit on other like creators or whatever, but I can personally attest to this. I'll have something that I've purposefully either not monetized or YouTube has put like no monetization on it, as far as like when you go into your creator studio thing, but there'll still be ads on it. So it's like, okay, so I'm not quote unquote monetized. Why are there fucking ads on my shit? Who's getting that money? You can't say it's not monetized and then still monetize it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, if I were the type of person that cared about monetization, which I don't, like, again, like, I don't get paid for this shit. That would bug me. Like, some people, their livelihoods is streaming. I don't know. There's just some stuff I don't understand. But yeah, this one turned out pretty good. And I don't mind the spearmint in there. It seems like the spearmint and the peppermint and then the cookie on top of it gave the mint a little bit of a different taste to it, because quite frankly, I was just getting sick of vaping just peppermint. I wanted it to be just slightly different. So the little bit of spearmint in there, it does give it a little bit of a different flavor, but still has like that nice peppermint that I like. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like what I do with my dad's mixes, is when I try to like make something a little bit different for him, I'll take some of the flavors I know he likes and what he's used to, and then I'll just substitute some of the other flavors with new flavors. So it's like kind of the same thing, just a little bit different. I get that, Ian, but do you understand what I'm saying? Is like, you're saying my video is not monetized and I'm not getting monetization for it, but you're still putting ads on it. Do you not get how? Because the whole point of like it not being monetized and flagged as not monetized is because it's not content that's suitable for ads. So if you're telling me it's not suitable for ads, but then putting ads on it, that doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. To me, it sounds sketchy. But do what you're gonna do. I personally don't give a shit. I'm not making money on it anyway. But if I were the type of person that, it's my livelihood, which a lot of people I watch on YouTube it is, or at least a chunk of their livelihood, it would be very frustrating to me. It just frustrates me on a level where it doesn't make sense to me. Things that don't make sense to me frustrate me. And sketchy shit frustrates me, especially when there's nothing you can do about it. I've learned that I'm a controlling person, not so much like trying to control other people, but like I like to control all the things that I can control. I think for me, it's a coping mechanism for my anxiety. I feel like if I can control this, then I'm less likely to be anxious. I don't know. It's like a weird thing, but it kind of falls among those lines for me. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. My sleep is off again. I'm so mad. I was actually, because like my sleep got really screwed up. I think that was the big part of why I started feeling sick about a week and a half ago, is because I didn't sleep well for like a whole week, where I'd only be sleeping 5 hours a night, and it wasn't even consistent. It was like 2 hours here, 3 hours there, 1 hour here, 4 hours. Like it was all broken up basically. And for me, I'm not the type of person that can function on like 5 hours of sleep. I know there are people out there, like this dude, my neighbor from years ago. He used to swear like he could just all he needs is 2 to 4 hours of sleep a night, and he's good. I was like, I'm gonna need 7 to 8 hours. That's what I need. And it's still the same. Like I need my sleep. So getting like the 1 hour and then like being awake for like 5 hours and then sleeping 4 hours, that kind of stuff, it just And that was going on for like a week. And I was having panic attacks every day. And I think it was part of the reason why the sleeping was off, is I would have them at night. That's usually when I get them. And I had a really, really bad one about, I want to say 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. It was the worst one I ever had, and it came literally out of nowhere. Usually I can feel it coming. It's just like this weird sense of dread, and like my body feels a certain way. It's hard to describe if you've never had one, but I can feel it coming. This thing was like, and it ramps up too. Like it'll just start getting worse and worse. And usually what I can do is just talk myself down from it. Like I just have to like really like focus and just breathe and just, I don't know, it's this weird thing. This thing, because it came on out of nowhere and it was just like boom, like it wasn't like a ramp, it was just boom. It scared the shit out of me. Like I felt like I was so close to dying, because that's how I always feel, is like I'm gonna die. It literally just fucking, like after it passed, I like broke down and I like cried for like 10 minutes because I was so fucking scared. And then I was tired on top of it because it was like right when I was trying to sleep. So it's like, God, now I'm afraid to sleep because I don't want that to happen again. It was bad. Like it felt like something just grabbed my heart and just like squeezed it. It's just so weird. I hate it. But I was dealing with that. And luckily, I think Wednesday of this last week, I finally started sleeping and getting proper sleep. And that really helped kick whatever sickness. I don't even know if it's a sickness or if it was just anxiety driven plus sleep deprivation. I don't know. But whatever I was feeling got really, a lot better once I was able to sleep like 3 or 4 days in a row, fairly well. But then yesterday and today, my sleep's been screwed up again. So I'm like, damn it. I don't want to go back into that pattern. But yeah. At least today, because like yesterday I woke up really early after being up really late. And only getting like 4 hours of sleep yesterday. And then I was like, do I want to stay awake all day or do I want to take a nap? Because I know I'm going to be tired. So I decided to take a nap, and I slept until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Because of that, I didn't go to bed until like, I think 5 or 6 in the morning today. I want to say 5. And then I woke up at like 9, which isn't early, but considering I went to bed at like 5 in the morning, it's early. But it's like, if I go back to sleep, I'm just going to repeat the same thing I did yesterday and then not be able to sleep again until like 5, 6 in the morning, if not later. And then work's going to be all screwed up. So that's what I did. And that's why I'm like able to stream today, is because I was actually awake in enough time to actually come on, because I don't like waking up and then coming straight on here, because I feel like my brain's still foggy and I'm not, like, I need my caffeine to kick in. I don't know. But anyway, I am going to get out of here. I've been yammering on about nothing. I put the little mix I did. I know a lot of you said you don't like mint, but maybe keep it in your little back pocket in case, you do come out down with like a cold or whatever. You have it, or someone if they're going through it, maybe mix this up for them if you have the things to mix up. You can sub the cream, probably the marshmallow vanilla. The mints, maybe not as much. The only ones that might be comparable are Flavor Art, but I personally prefer Flavoras because I find them smoother. But I guess in a pinch, you might be able to use those if you already had them. The sugar cookie, I personally find to be kind of necessary for what I wanted it for, which was to sweeten it, add a nice vanilla note, and kind of smooth it out a little bit. But you could try using Capella Sugar Cookie. I've done that in the past with similar profiles. And then the vanilla bean, I don't really think that's necessary for this particular mix. It is a good flavor, though, if you don't have it. It's just what it says, like a vanilla bean type situation. Similar to Shisha Vanilla by Inawera, but a little bit more bean heavy and not as much of a bully. Because I find Inawera Shisha can easily run over whatever else it's mixed with if you don't, kind of gingerly put it in there. But anyway, stay healthy, wash your hands, be nice to people, don't be buying up everything. I know I probably don't have to tell you guys here because you guys probably are the people doing this crap, but I hear so many bad stories with this whole situation. It's ridiculous. But just try to be mindful of other people. It's common sense, but I feel like common sense, you know what it is. Anyway, check out Mix and Vixens tonight at 6 p.m. in about 5.5 hours. We're going to be doing what the picture is of a peanut butter ice cream with Reese's in it, Reese's cups. Now, mind you, that might not be what the mix that we made of it is, but that's what the picture is. So it's inspired on that picture. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here and yeah, bye.